Hello lovelies, welcome back to SEAMRITE Fashion Academy. Today is going to be the making of this off-shoulder bustier blouse. I believe you remember this pattern which we had drafting last time. I'll be dropping how this pattern is made on the description box below. You can see the patterns are there. We have the front and the back bodies as well as the sleeve we made in the last tutorial. Okay, I'm so excited to make this video because one of my subscribers requested that this video should be made. Okay, so today we are going to cut our pattern on our fabric. Then we are going to pad our bust here, and again then sew this blouse for you to see the finished product. So to begin this tutorial, I'm going to go to the work table right now so as to start our cutting. Before cutting this fabric, I want to bring to your notice that I'm making use of this for this blouse. Okay, so this is my main fabric, that is my Ankara fabric, as you can see it here. Then I want to make some combination to it. You can see I have blue, a little blue in this fabric, and I'm going to match it up with this also. Okay, so I have my lining here. So the very first thing I'm going to do as we get to the work table is to iron. Okay, I'm going to iron up the lining. You can see it is a little bit rumpled. Before you estee, you need to straighten your fabric, because sometimes if you don't do that, you notice that some lining becomes shorter. When you cut and estee, you find it shorter. Now we are on the work table right now. I'm going to iron, okay, my fabric. Like I told you before, you need to iron everything before you cut on your pattern, and estee before you cut on your pattern. Sometimes when you cut this before your estee, you find out that some linings, because of the texture of the lining, become shorter or longer, and it will never match up with your patterns. So I always advise you estee, iron your fabric, then you place on your pattern. So watch, let's do that. This is my Ankara fabric right now. You can see how rumpled it is. I'm going to iron it out now, then estee it, place my bodice pattern, okay, on where the required places I need this Ankara to appear. I'll add my seam allowances and cut it off for you to see. Let me do that. So you ensure that all the rumpled areas of your lining is ironed, or of your fabric is ironed out rather. Okay, ensure that it's straightened. Then having done that, the very next thing I'm going to do right now is to place my estee and iron. Let us do that. Now this is my estee, okay, or fusible interfacing, which we normally know as our estee. You can see how the texture is. It has a rough, two faces, one is rough and one is smooth. Okay, then I'm going to make use of the rough part of it. I'll place the rough part of it to the back side of the fabric. This is the back side of the fabric. I'm placing the rough side of the estee on top of the rough side of the wrong side of the fabric. I have two of them here. One is black in color and this is white, as you can see. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I want to be working with the white fusible interfacing, or estee, okay, because I really want my estee to be visible. So I'm keeping the black estee and I'm going to work with this white estee. So the very next thing I'm going to do, I've finished ironing my fabric. You can see the rumples are gone. So I'll be placing the rough side on top of these two, and then I'll iron my estee on it. Now you can see how I'm ironing my stay on top of my fabric. You can see I've already placed it with a good temperature iron. Okay, you have to regulate well-regulated iron. Please don't make it too hot so that you don't burn your outfit. Okay, so you see how I'm staying. Okay, so I'm going to stay all over this fabric. Remember, I've not got my pattern yet. I'm going to stay like I explained earlier before I can now cut off my pattern to get an accurate result. I want to bring to your notice that I'm working on the front bodies first. Okay, this is the pattern for the front bodies I have here. You see the side front, and this is the center front. So I'm done ironing my Ankara with my este. Okay, and now I want the side bodies to be the part where the Ankara will appear on my outfit. Okay, so I will quickly pick up this side front, and I'll be going to the work table to place on top of the Ankara I have already stayed, and add my seam allowances all through. But I want you to take note that I have 2 panels here, and I'm going to duplicate it for the front, and I'll be having 3. This is 1 and 2, so I'm going to make out of that my stayed fabric 2 of these. I'll be having 2 of these for the front, and this I will cut it on fold. I'll have 1 in front. Okay, so let me take you to the work table for you to see. All right, people, before we go to the work table to start off this off shoulder sewing, I want to bring to your notice that the pattern we had in our previous lecture, I have a dart on the center front. Okay, so you can visit that video. I'll be dropping the link on the description box below. I have a 1-inch dart which I did not cut off. Okay, and if you look at this, you can see I've already cut it off. So now make sure that 1-inch dart was cut off. That was a little error, an omission. I'm supposed to cut off the 1-inch. Now if you look at this pattern, if you take your tape measure, with my tape measure, I want to show you that when you merge these 2 patterns together, that is where I'm going to join the 2, and you merge these together. From the center front, center back, I'll be taking my measurement, and I have 5.5 inches. Okay, this 5.5 inches has to correspond to the front. From the center front, you see I have 5.5 inches. Okay, so but with that 1-inch dart, you'll be having 6.5 inches. So that 1-inch dart, please don't forget to cut it off. So let us go to the work table. Back to the work table right now. You can see my este well ironed on top of this Ankara. Okay, remember the este was placed at the wrong side of this Ankara. So I'm going to fold this Ankara. I'm going to fold it. Okay, so I will have 2 pieces. What do I mean? This is 1 and this is 2. Okay, remember, from this my pattern, I'm going to make out of this pattern 2 pieces for the front. So that is why I'm folding this Ankara into 2 after I've estayed it. Then I'll be placing it on top of my fabric, as you can see. Then I'm going to add my seam allowances. I'm adding 0.5 to this point. I'll add 0.5 all through for seaming. Then by the side of it, I'm going to add 1 inch. Okay, that is my seam allowance to close up the side. Then I'm going to add 1 inch for my hemming. That is the part I'm going to attach to my lining. So let me cut it for you to see. All right, people, I'm done cutting off my fabric on my pattern. You can see I added my 0.5 inch. You can see I have 0.5 inch by the side. I will join this piece to this one, and I added 2 inches. Okay, because I'm going to join my lining. I'm going to take my lining, join it to this place. So I have 2 inches here, 1 inch by the side. So what I did there is I first of all estayed the Ankara okay, and cut off the panels that I'll be making use of the Ankara for. So you can see I want my Ankara to be at the side back, side front, and on the sleeve. Okay, so you can see I've added the necessary seam allowances right now. So I'll go back to the table right now, ironing table, to estee the blue fabric for the center front and for the center back. Remember that the center front is going to be cut on fold. As you can see, I'm cutting it on fold. So after esteening right now, I'm going to cut off the remaining panels. Okay, then we'll start sewing. Please watch. On the ironing table, the very first thing I'm doing is to ensure that my fabric is well ironed, okay, eliminating the rumples, okay, before I'll estee. That is the very first thing I do. Then after that, I'm going to estee. So I'm going to place my estee right now. Remember, I showed you two estees, the white and the black one. For this particular fabric right now, you can see that it's very okay, is somehow bright. So I want to use the black estee, okay, to estee it, okay, so that it will not be too shouty while making use of it. Okay, so let me place the rough side on the fabric, then I'm going to estee it now. So I've placed my estee right now, and you can see I'm trying to estee, okay, as usual. You just take it easy, okay. All right, people, you can see I'm done cutting my fabric with my pattern, and you can see I have my center back, I have my center front, okay, I have my side patterns for the back and for the front, then my sleeve, and I added my seam allowances at the appropriate places. I have 0.5, I have 1 inch. Then for the hem, I have 2 inches because I'm going to add my lining. Okay, so I'll be going to iron my lining right now, but I'll not be esteening my lining because I have a thick lining for this project. Okay, so I'll also use the same pattern to cut my lining, but in this case it's going to be shorter than the length of this fabric. And before using this pattern to cut my fabric, to cut my lining rather, I want to make my notches on these lines. Okay, these are my waistline, under bust point, armhole line. I need to make all these notches because I'm going to stitch the side front and the center front together. So I need the notches to match for the side front and for the center. The same thing for the back too. So I'm going to make my notches right now. I'll be using this to demonstrate how to make my notches. You can see how I'm making my notches. So I'm done transferring my notches. Okay, I transferred my notches on these lines. Okay, don't do that by the side, okay, because you are going to run your stitch by the side of this fabric. So I'm going to take away my lining, my pattern now, and I'll be taking this fabric to the work table to cut with the lining. So I want to remind you that the lining is going to be shorter than the fabric because we are going to turn off. Remember, I took 2 inches for my hemming. So I'm going to turn off my 2 inches, okay, for the hemming, and you can see that the lining will I'll start joining my lining from this point. So I have 2 inches here, the double of it is 4 inches. Then I'll be joining my lining with 1/2 inch, okay, 1/2 inch to this one, meaning that 1/2 inch is going out from this one. So that's why I'm having my lining to be 3.5 inches. Let me demonstrate it for you to see. I'm done cutting my lining and my fabric. I cut both my lining and my fabric of the same length. Okay, I usually like doing it like that so that I'll be able to get an accurate result. Okay, so remember I took 2 inches for my hemming. On that pattern I extended my fabric by 2 inches, and this is that 2 inches. So what I'm trying to explain is that these 2 inches, I'm going to use it to fold this fabric. Okay, I hope you are seeing this chalk. It looks exactly the same thing with this color. So this is where I'll be having my lining, okay, folded to get my actual blouse length. So I'm going to join my lining from this point. Okay, I hope you are understanding what I'm explaining. So if you take the measurement of this hem, I have 2 inches here, and if you look at the point, okay, let me make a mark at this point. This is the point that we are going to join our lining. Let me stretch it back again. So at this point, I'm measuring back to the hem. You see I have 4 inches now. Okay, so my lining will be starting exactly at this point, but I'm going to add 0.5 inch to it to join the fabric, 0.5 to join the fabric and the lining. So from this point of 0.5, you can see how I came to 3.5 inches. So it depends on the hem, okay, the hem length you want to choose. Some people might want to use 1 inch, some people might want to use 3 inches for their hemming, okay, but I love using 2 inches. So at the end of the day, stitching the lining and the fabric, I'll be having 1.5 inches for my hem. Okay, so if you have 1 inch as your hem, you know you are going to fold double, and that double you are folding, that is 1 plus 1, you have 2. Then you are going to take away 1/2 inch from it to sew your lining and your fabric, and you'll be left with 1.5. Okay, so you'll be placing on your lining 1.5 and you cut off. So I believe you understand this illustration. So let me go to my lining right now and take away my 3.5. So this is my 3.5. I'll take it to the other way to get a straight line. Now I'm going to cut off my lining from the 3.5. okay, so I've cut off the 3.5 now, which is not part of my lining again. So this is the fabric, this is the lining for this side. So you can see how short this lining is. You can see this is the 3.5 right now. Okay, so my lining is shorter by 3.5 as I earlier explained. Now at the point of 2.5, I'm going to fold my fabric, then I'm going to iron. Okay, I'm going to iron it so that I have my crease line. So I want to bring to your notice that I did not estay my lining. Okay, you might decide to estay your lining, is your choice. I have a thicker lining here, I wouldn't want to estay it. Then the next thing is that you need to place the same notch you had for your front, your fabric, back to the lining. Okay, remember that both the lining and the fabric is going to appear on the same line when you are making this outfit. So make sure you transfer your notches. Okay, the notches are only at the center where you are going to join your side, your center front and your center back. Then for the side seam, you don't need any notch there because you are going to run your 1 inch down to the hem. So I'm going to repeat the same process. Okay, how I cut off my 3.5, I'm going to cut my lining with other patterns, then I'm going to cut off my 3.5 inches. So I'm going to place my notches. Okay, watch how I'm placing my notches. Please don't go too in, okay, just a little to help you know where to hold. Then I'm going to remove this pattern right now. This is my main fabric and this is the hem. I'll still repeat the same process by lifting my main pattern, and with my tape, my measuring tape, I'm going to take from the hem. I'll also take the measurements of 3.5 inches. You can see my mark here. I'm going to cut it off. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do, repeating the same process for all of them. You can see this is my lining, my main fabric. I'll be folding it, I'll join it this way. Okay, so I'll keep it aside and do the same on other fabrics and the sleeve. So you can see this is my sleeve. Okay, my fabric for the sleeve and my lining for the sleeve. You can see I also cut it at the same size. So you remember that when we made this pattern, which I'll be dropping the link on the description box below, we took 1 inch, okay, for the hem here. So in this case, because we took 1 inch, we are going to short the lining by 1.5 inches. You can see, because the 1 inch, when you fold it, you have 1 inch plus, and if you make a mark on it, this is your 1 inch. Let me show you what I mean. This is the 1 inch for the hem. Now you can see that, okay, and I'm folding exactly at 1 inch. This is where the 1 inch stops, okay. I make a mark, then I bring down my sleeve, then from this point I mark, I'll take it down. You can see I have, it's supposed to be 2 inches anyway, because 1 plus 1 is 2, okay. So it will be 2 inches, okay. The mark should be at 2 inches. So at these 2 inches, I'm going to add 1/2 inch to it. That is 1/2 inch I'll be using to sew my lining to the fabric. So from that 1/2 inch, I'll be taking my measurement from there, and you can see I have 1.5 inches. So we are going to cut off this sleeve. That is why I'm showing you. You remember we cut off at 3.5 inches because we took 2 inches hem for other ones. So for this one, we are going to cut off at 1.5 inches because our hem is 1 inch. So following how I demonstrated how to achieve how short your lining will be to your fabric, you will surely get a perfect lining to fabric stitching. Now people, you can see I have all my pieces in place right now. Okay, I'm done ironing and estering this fabric. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go to my sewing machine to stitch these pieces together. But before I do that, remember we are going to pad our bustier, okay? The bustier padding will be for the side and for the center front, okay? But I want to refer you to the bustier padding on my previous video I made. I'll be dropping the link on the description box below. Please try and visit that video so that you can see how you can pad your bustier. So for this particular tutorial, I'm not going to show how to pad my bustier, but I'm going to pad it, then I'll go to my machine to show you how to stitch your off shoulder together. Alright, you can see this is my front piece, okay. These are the 2 sides and the center front. So I'm going to stitch this to this and stitch this to this, but I'm going to stitch one at a time, okay. So I'll be going to my machine. I'm going to match up. You can see the notch I have, okay. This is my underbust notch, this is the underbust notch. So I'll be matching the underbust notch to the underbust notch. Then I'm going to fasten my pin. Come over to this is the bust point notch, and this is the bust point notch. I'm going to fasten them together. Then this is the other notch, that is the armhole notch. I'll fasten my pin, okay. Then I'll take my pin to the top, then I'll take my pin, I hold my pin, okay, to the hem. So I'll take this pin from this point to this point. You can see I have my pins running all through from the top to the hem, okay. So I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew from the hem, okay. We always sew from the hem. I'm sewing 0.5 inch all through to the end of this outfit. So I'll be sewing 0.5 inch, okay. So I'll be following this guideline. Alright, I'm following this 0.5 guideline. You can see my mark there, okay. So you can see the notch I'm talking about. Okay, that's the under bust notch. Okay, you ensure that these two notches are firmly fixed. Okay, and then to have a good gauge of your stitch, you can just make a little mark for beginners if you cannot get the 0.5 accurately. Okay, so you now sew. Okay, you have to make sure you match up your bustier appropriately and you sew on the 0.5. okay, while you still have your bust point fixed firmly. You can see your bust point. Okay, you sew gently. So you sew from there 0.5 to the end. And all right, you can see I have my cup already. Okay, you can see my cup is already out. I've joined one piece of this to the center front. Now I'm going to take the other piece. I will repeat the same thing I did for the center front. Okay, so I'm going to also place my notches. Okay, make sure your notches are in the right place. Okay, your under bust notch, your waist notch. Make sure you tie your bust point notch, your armhole notch to the top of your outfit. So I'm going to fasten use my pin to hold these notches in place. Then I'll sew from the hem to the top, just as I did on the other part. Okay, you can see I'm taking it gently. Don't rush this part. This is the bustier. You need to make sure you have your notches matched like I explained before. If not, you'll not have a good curve there. Okay, so you gently take the curve, and as you are sewing, you keep matching. Okay, making sure that the other part matches with the other layer. Okay, while you still have your pin in place, gently taking the 0.5. You keep taking the 0.5 till the end. Now I'm done stitching my panels together. You can see the center front and the side front. Okay, now you can see my bust. Okay, you can see how the curves came out too well, so beautiful. So you have to follow those steps to sew your bustier. Okay, around the bust point and on the under bust, you need to take your 0.5 gently, gradually, to achieve a good result, just like this. So the very next thing we are going to do is to flip this front bodies. Okay, this front outfit, we are going to flip it to the back. You can see how the back is. Okay, remember I promised to drop how this is made, the padding of this bustier, on the description box below. You please go there to check how it's being padded. Now I'm going to make my notches. You can see I have this area is curvy. So if you want to iron, you will not get a good result, but you need to make your notches. Okay, put your notches with your scissors all over this curved area. Then after that, you are going to use this. Although it's still under construction, I want to use this opportunity to show you how you can use this to, iron your cup so that you have a good bustier cup. So you can see I packed so many pieces. Okay, I packed so many pieces to my desired size. Okay, so that's how you're going to do it. You have to look around your working shop or place and pick all the pieces you have from the fabrics you made already. Pack them together, wrap them together like a ball, as you can see. Then with the cellotape, you can see I've taped the first one, so I'm going to tape it all around these pieces that I wrap like a ball for you to see the outcome. Let me do that. So you can see I'm done with it right now. Okay, wrapping my sellotape all over the pieces, so you can see what I have. So you are going to see how I'm going to make use of this to iron my bustier cup, okay, and come out with a desirable cup. Okay, so I'll keep this aside. Let's go back to fabric. Okay, now you see the bustier parts. Remember I told you need to notch. You can see I cut my notches. I think you can see it. I did this all the way to the bust point, okay, because that is where the curve stopped. And when you look at this from the bust point down, you can see I have my straight stitches to the hem. Okay, so I make these notches from the bust point to the top to enable me get a good result, iron properly, and allow my cup to protrude. So I did this also on this other part of it, as you can see, on the curvy part of it. So the next thing we are going to do right now, I'm going to make use of this to iron this cup. Okay, so watch, let me do that. So before ironing this, I want to join all other panels first. Okay, I'm going to start joining from my hem, just as I showed you on this particular panel. So I'm going to pick up all the back panels. I'm going to join the back panels from the hem to from the bottom to the top, and I'm also going to join my lining, okay, the same way I joined the fabric, the front layer. That's how I'm going to join my lining too, starting all the way from the hem and the cup. You see how I did it on my machine. So that is exactly what you are going to do to your lining also. So your lining is going to come out this way, and your lining for the back will come out exactly like the fabric for the back. Okay, everything will come out in two pieces. So let me join them and show you before we start ironing. You can see this is my back piece. Remember, I still have my notches from the waist to the bust point to the under bust to the bust point and so on. So I'm going to flip it, okay, this way, front side to right side to right side. Then I'll use my pin and match up those notches just as I did before. This is the back piece, so I'm going to start from the bottom to the top and ensure that my notches are in place. You can see now that I've matched my notches up with my pin. I've matched it and placed my pin to secure it. So I want you to also remember that sometimes this back piece might look so uniform from the bottom to the top. Okay, so you have to make sure that you identify the down part of this back piece and the front part. Since there's no bustier to this, it's looking so straight, it's the back, it looks alike, the bottom and the top almost look alike. So please don't confuse yourself with that. Make sure you place your pattern. Okay, you need to have your pattern on that back piece all the time till you take out the fabric and match it up with the other fabric. Okay, so that you don't confuse yourself asking where is the top or where is the down part of that dress, of that blouse rather. All right, I'm done stitching my lining and my fabric. That is my front bodies. Okay, you can see how the cup is protruding, including the lining. You can see the lining. Okay, so these are my front bodies, the lining and the fabric. I just want to show you the outcome. This is my back piece. You can see the fabric back and the lining back. Okay, you can see I've already joined everything, every piece together. This is my sleeve. Okay, you can see I still have my pins on the bottom part of that sleeve. Okay, I just want to show you how it looks like. Okay, remember the lining is shorter than the fabric. I've explained that before. Okay, so I'm going to run my stitches on top of this pin. I'm going to run 0.5 from the beginning to the end. I'll do that for both sides. Then we'll now go to the ironing table to iron our fabric. Alright, you can see I've stitched my lining, my sleeve lining to the fabric sleeve. Okay, so with my 0.5 inch, as you can see. Alright, so I'm going to open it up right now. I'm going to open up. You can see how I'm opening up. I'll open up and make sure I lay it flat and iron it flat. Okay, after ironing my lining, okay, opening it up like I told you, this is what I have. Okay, so now I love working, okay, making sure I couple my sleeve, okay, and set it aside. So I'm going to concentrate on this sleeve before I start ironing other parts of this blouse. So let me show you how I couple my sleeve. Now I've turned it to the right side. Okay, that's the first thing I do. I turn to the right side, then I'll match up the top to top for lining and fabric. Then I'll use my pin and hold it. Then I'll run my 0.5 stitches. So you can see I've done stitching my sleeve top. Okay, you can see the 0.5 stitches here. So I will still open it up just like I did. I'll open up and iron. I'll do this, iron this top and iron the other sleeve top. So you can see I've opened it up and I've ironed. Okay, all right, using your steam iron so that it will actually relax. So I'm going to turn this. I'm going to turn to the front. Okay, the front part of this sleeve, I'm going to turn it right now. Okay, then I'll show you what next to do. All right, lovelies, you can see what I have. You can see what I was explaining. This is my hem. Okay, this is my lining. Okay, you can see how beautiful it's looking. You turn over. Okay, you see the sleeve. Okay, I've stitched and ironed and it's looking very beautiful. So some people might want to, this is the top of this sleeve. Okay, you might want to top stitch. Okay, why do you top stitch? Just to get a flat edge. Okay, but I don't want to do that now because I already have my flat edge with my steam iron. So you can see the next thing I'm going to do is to close up. I'm going to close up this part and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to bring these edges, okay, this edge, you can see where the lining, from the point of the lining, and I'm going to match it up with this edge. I'm making sure that the lining point, I think you can see that, and this other part of the lining will match. I'll use my pin and secure it firmly. Then all right, you can see my pin. Okay, this is exactly what I mean. I made sure that the lining from the edge I stitched it is matching up. You can see. Then I secured my pin to the end. So I'm going to run. This is my side sleeve. Remember we added 1 inch. So I'm going to take 1 inch to close up this sleeve. 1 inch. Okay, don't forget, not 0.5 this time, but 1 inch because that is my side sleeve. All right, you can see I have my 1 inch. Okay, you can see my 1 inch. I ran it from top to bottom. So I'm going to open it up again with my steam iron. I'm going to iron. Okay, open it up flat. All right, this is what I have for my sleeve now. Okay, you can see this is where I stitched with 1 inch, and if you look at in, inside, you can see how neat the inside is. Okay, that is the inside of this the lining aspect. Okay, so the two of them are both looking neat. So this is my sleeve now. Okay, I have one of my sleeves ready. I will do the same, repeat the same process to the other sleeve. So this is, you can see it's still open. That is where I'm going to join this sleeve to the bodies. So let me quickly do the same to the next sleeve, then and start ironing the other parts of the blouse. I'm done with my two sleeves right now, so I'm going to set the two of them aside, then I will start ironing my panels. Alright, it's now time for us to work on the ironing of the bustier. So I'm starting all the way from the hem, and I'm going to open up. Okay, you can see how I'm opening it up. I'll continue doing that. I'll keep doing that till I get to the under bust. Okay, this is the under bust point. So from this under bust point, now I'll still continue opening it up. You can see how I'm opening it. Okay, because I want it to lay flat, the two sides to lay flat. That is what I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, so I have to do this, open it up to the end. Okay, then I'll continue doing that till the end of this place. I'll still do the same to the other part of the bustier. Okay, I'll do the same from the hem to the top. All right, you can see that I have the stitches open up. Okay, and they are laying flat from top to bottom. So this is now the time for us to make use of this. Okay, remember when we made this, it will be used for our bustier. Okay, so you are going to see how I'm going to put this in here, turn it up to the front, then use it to get my cup to a good shape. All right, people, I've turned the front side, okay, to the right side. Okay, you can see the front side, and now we are going to demonstrate. You can see the ball. I'm going to fix this ball. I'm going to put it, you can see the back. Okay, so I have my ball on this cup. You can see how it's placed on this cup. Okay, all right, so you can see how it is now. That's what I want to achieve with this ball. Okay, so I'll be placing a piece of fabric on top of it. Okay, because I'm going to use my steam to iron this. Okay, I'm going to iron it and lay flat so that it will actually form the shape of this ball. All right, people, so you can see how I'm ironing. You can see that this ball is actually helping to make sure that I have a good cup on my bustier. Okay, so like I said before, I'll be dropping the link of how to pad your bustier perfectly. I've already made the video. It's in one of my videos. I'll drop the link so that you visit the video to understand how this bustier is padded. So having done this, I'm going to repeat the same process to the other cup. I'm done ironing my cup. Okay, you can see I'm very much happy with my cup. Okay, the ball gave my cup a very good shape. So the next thing I'm going to do is to couple, because I have everything ready right now. I have my sleeve in place. You can see that I have the two pieces in place. I have my front lining bustier in place. You can see them, and I have all my back pieces in place. So I'm going to start coupling. So in the coupling of this blouse, I'm going to put the front and the back bodies together. Okay, for each piece, okay, like on the fabric to fabric, front and back, lining to lining, front and back. So I'm going to join these pieces, okay. I'm going to stitch the size of this and have it as one piece. So I'm going to flip up this and I'm going to match it up with this, you can see. And I'll make sure that the armhole, I secure my armhole with my pin and secure my hem. I use my pin all over this area. All right, you can see I have my pins from the bottom, okay, to the armhole. You can see how I secure this firmly. Please don't mind this. I was ironing and I burnt that part, okay. That's why I said you have to regulate it very well. If you don't take care, you'll be having this one, but that's by the way. So I'm going to run my stitches, okay, 1/1" stitch all over. Then I'll still do the same on the other part. All right, people, you can see I have my 1/1" mark all through from the armhole to the bottom. So I used my pattern master, okay. I placed it from the armhole, you can see the shape, and then to the waist I marked. These are the tips and tricks I usually use if I want to get a good shape to my blouse, okay. Just as you use your pattern master on your pattern when making it, you also place it on the fabric and make the 1" mark. Then I use my hip curve from the waist, okay. I place the hip curve, then I also mark on the point of my 1" as you can see, okay. So if you have follow this step by step, definitely you are not going to adjust and readjust your blouse. You're already running your stitch on this line shaped by the pattern master and the hip curve. So once you finish stitching and ironing and wear it, you see those curves, okay, on your body, and it will be looking very wonderful. Now I did the same thing to the other parts, okay. I have this all over, even including in my lining. I repeated the same process using my pattern master and my hip curve. You can see I have all my lines. So I'm going to stitch on these lines. I'll just follow these lines from top to bottom, then I'll iron. Now you can see I have my sides, okay, both my side and the center. All right, lovelies, you can see I have my back piece and my front piece, okay. This is my back, my two side backs and the center front piece, okay. So you can see I have the pieces joined together, and these are my armholes, okay. So I did the same thing to my lining. I also have the same on my lining. So I'm going to place right side to right side, okay, and I'll make sure that I fasten the neckline. You can see how I'm holding it. I'm going to use my pin to fasten my neckline, okay. So I'm going to pin it from the center. I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. I'm going to pin it from the center, and I'll keep pinning till I get to the point, and I'll come over. I'll also pin to match up with this point. Then I'll now go over to the back bodies, lining to lining, lining to fabric, front side, right side to right side, okay. Then I'll also hold, use my pin, then I'll secure it to the end. Now I'll do the same on the other part of the back. So I'm going to stitch 0.5. I'll come over to the neckline. I'll be stitching 0.5. I'll also do the same on the other part, then I'll come back for you to see. All right, you can see I have my stitches at 0.5" here. Then this is the center front of this outfit, okay. You can see it came a little deep like a sweetheart. So I'm going to notch this part, okay, to enable me turn it before top stitching, okay. So you can see I have my notches there. That's what you are going to do. If you don't do that, it will be difficult for you to turn and top stitch. So you can see how I ran all of that. This is my armhole still open, okay. All right, so remember that this open area for the armhole, that is where I'm going to fix this part of my sleeve. You remember my sleeve have an opening which I'm going to fix with the opening of this sleeve. So what I'm going to do now is to go to my machine to top stitch. Okay, I'm going to show you how to top stitch. You can see I have the lining and the fabric, so I'm going to run my thread. As you can see, I'm going to take top stitch on this line. Okay, I'll take it down to the end. I'll also come over to this place. You can see how I opened it to top stitch. Just top stitching means having another stitch on top of a stitch. Okay, you can see I've already joined it. Okay, normally I could have just, you know, ironed, but because I need it to lay very flat, so I'm going to run my thread just very close to the seam. Okay, you can see how I'm moving, so I will do that for you to see. All right, people, you can see I've finished top stitching. Okay, you can see my top stitch. That is what I meant by top stitching. Okay, and now after top stitching it, I also ironed it. You can see it's well ironed. So it's time for me to fix my sleeves. I love fixing my sleeves first before putting my zipper. Okay, so I'm going to put this I'm going to fix my sleeve, the right side to the right hand side, then the left hand side to the, you can see. So you can see the opening I was telling you before. These are the openings, and I'm going to match up this opening. So I'm going to open it up a little bit, and I'll use my pin. I hope you're watching what I'm doing. I'll take the fabric to fabric, then I'm going to pin my fabric to the fabric. All right, this is my fabric for the sleeve. I'm going to pin it exactly at the side. Okay, then I would also take the, you can see where the line, I joined the lining to the fabric. I also pick up the blouse where I joined the lining to the fabric. You can see how I'm matching it. So I'll make sure that I pin it at these strategic points. I will do the same all around, finding the places that the lining joins the fabric for the sleeve and for the blouse. Then I will pin it all around. So you can see I'm done pinning the sleeve fabric to the blouse fabric. Then I'll come over to the lining. This is the lining for the blouse, for the sleeve, and this is the lining for the blouse. So I'll come to the side seam of both the sleeve and the blouse. You can see I'll fasten my pin, and I'll come to the edge of the sleeve. You can see, okay, I have it already fastened. So I'm going to place my pin all through from end to end. So you can see what I have here now. So I will start from the side seam of the fabric, and I'll take 0.5, I'll go around 0.5, and I'll come back here. Okay, so I'm going to do the same for the other part of the sleeve, then I'll turn it for you to see the finished product. You can see I've finished stitching on the sleeve and the bodies, okay, to the lining and the fabric. Now I'm going to turn my sleeves for you to see the outcome. Okay, so all right, people, you can see this is my sleeve attached to my bodies. Okay, you can see how beautiful it's already looking. That's my off shoulder. Okay, so by the time I place it on the shoulder, it will actually be off. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to work on my zipper. Okay, I'm going to place my zip, then I'll show you to see. Working on my zip, this is the zip I'm making use of. Okay, you can see the zip head, and this is the zip, the end of the zip. Okay, so this zip you are seeing here, I can open it up. So you can see I can open it up and I can fix it back. Okay, so you can remove it, you can put it back. So that is usually the zip you are going to make use of for this blouse. Okay, blouses, this is the kind of zip we make use of, so that once you open it up, the fabric will the outfit will open up, then you wear it and you fix it back, and then you zip. Okay, now coming to the hem, remember we took 2 inches for the hem. Okay, to hem this blouse we take 2 inches, so I'm going to mark 2 inches. This is what we have for our hem. Then I'm making a mark. I'll also make my mark on the other part. All right, so I'm going to place my zipper. I love placing my zipper on the left side, starting from the left side to sew, and we are going to sew at 1 inch interval. So I'm going to make a mark of 1 inch. Is either you make a mark of 1 inch or you iron the 1 inch, okay, to make a crease, so that you follow the crease line, then you sew your zipper on it. So you can see that having these 2 inches from here, I took 2 inches from here like I said earlier. Then from that point I have my 1 inch. So my zip is going to start. Look at the face of this, look at the zip. Okay, this is how the zip will be. Okay, I'm just showing you how you, after sewing the zip, you have this zip this way. So I'm going to flip my zip on the point of these 2 inches. Please watch what I'm doing. I'm going to flip it to align with the 1 inch. Okay, and having done that, right people, you can see I fastened my pin at 1 inch from the center zip. Okay, so if I take my measurement, remember I made a mark. Okay, so I place this center zip. You see I have 1 inch all over. Okay, so I have my pin fastened to it, but when you look at, you can see I have some excess. Do not worry about this. We are going to tuck it in. Okay, when sewing to the lining, we are going to tuck it in and sew. So I'm sewing only one piece. Okay, I'm sewing only the fabric side. This is what I mean. I'm not sewing it together. Remember, I don't want any of my seam to show inside this blouse. Okay, I want a smooth, okay, a clean stitch front and back. Okay, so that you can wear the back, you can wear the front also. So you can see what I have right now. So when I sew on this using my zipper foot, I'm going to the machine to change my zip, my foot, my presser foot to zipper foot. Now after sewing it, this is what I'll have. Can you see that? You see how it is laying. Okay, then I'm going to open my zip. Before I sew, I'm going to open this zip before I sew. Okay, then I also flip it back again. So I'm going to sew wide open, not closed. Take note of that. So I'll be going with my presser foot. I'm going to sew very close, close, close. Then I'll come back for you to see. This is my zip right now. Okay, and I've stitched very close with my zipper foot. You can see how close it is. Let me zoom my camera for you to see. You can see, okay, the stitches are quite close, but not in the zip itself, just beside the zip. With your zipper foot, you can achieve a good result. So now that I've fixed this part, I'm going to flip my zip on this direction. Okay, so I'm going to remove this zip. All right, you can see I've removed the zip. Okay, and look at it here, it's actually matching up. So I'm going to flip it this way. That is how I'm going to sew on this other part. But before I flip it, I'll still repeat the same process on this part. I'll be taking 2 inches, then I'll take 1 inch from that point. I'll be taking 1 inch till, so you can see I have my 1 inch to the end. Then this is my zip. I'm going to flip it. Watch how I'm doing that from the point of 2 inches. You can see, I hope you are seeing this mark. Okay, this chalk is actually the same color, but I just believe you understand what I'm doing. So you can see from the edge of this iron, that's where I'm placing my zipper, and I'm going to use my pin right now. Then I'm going to fasten my pin. I'll do the same, fasten my pin all through to the end. All right, I'm done stitching the 2 zippers. Right, the 2 zips are fixed firmly to the fabric. Okay, remember it was only for the fabric. The lining, I did not attach it to the lining, but you are going to see how I'm going to attach this to the lining. Now I want to show you that you can close up your zip once again. Remember, this is the right zip for blouses. You can see how I'm closing it. You can see how it's going to look after sewing this outfit. Okay, so I'm going to open it up right now. I'm going to open it because I want to attach it right to the lining. Okay, so attaching it to the lining, you can see my lining, I have no zip on it. You can see the lining side, there is no zip on it, and you can see the slight excess I have. Okay, in this case you can cut off, but when you're cutting off, you have to be very, very careful, because if you cut off and you forget that you cut it off, you can see this iron here. If you forget that you have cut it off and there's no iron, and you want to try your zip, it might flip up and you start up all over again. So I would prefer we put it, okay, but it's really going to be bulky. All right, so you can also flip it this way, as you are seeing. Take it together with the lining. Okay, so you are going to find the point at which the lining joins the fabric, so you can see. So I want you to watch. Remember that this is the zipper itself, where the zipper will appear. So as you are turning it this way, you'll be taking it slightly towards this direction, so that when you sew, you will not see this in front of your zipper. So you make sure that you hold these two pointers. I'm holding it. Try and hold it firmly and use your pin to secure it. And as you are using your pin to secure it, you keep matching the lining to the fabric. You keep matching the lining to the fabric from top to bottom. So you can see my pins holding the fabric and the lining together. Now if I flip it this way, you can see the stitches. So I'm going back to my machine right now, and I'm going to run on top of this stitch. Okay, I'm going to run exactly on top of this stitch. I will do that till the end. Then I'm going to repeat the same process on the other side of the zip. Okay, then I'll iron it and bring it for you to see. All right, people, you can see this is the lining and the fabric. Okay, and you can see the space. This space is for my hemming. I'm going to flip it up, as you can see. Then I'm going to stitch it. But look at the zipper. I want to show you the finished product of the zipper. This is the sleeve, the zipper head, and I'm going to fix it. You can see I've already zipped my blouse. So I'll bring it out again. You can also remove it. You can see that's how you are going to remove it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to join my lining to my fabric, and I want to show you how to do that. So at this point, you can see I left a little, like 0.5. I left like 0.5 inch to join, to attach this to this. So I'm going to flip. You can see the head, the beginning of the lining and the beginning of the fabric. I'm going to turn it this way. I think you are seeing what I'm doing. Can you see what I'm doing? All right, so from this end I'll be pinning, and make sure when it comes to these two joining, I'll make sure it matches with the joining of the back, and I'll secure it with my pin. Coming to my side seams, you can see my side seam for the front and the side seam for the back. And at that point of the side seam, you are going to secure your pin. You keep going, you keep pinning, and once you get to another joining, you make sure that it's well secured with the front, the lining and the fabric. All right, you can see all my pins all over the hem to the end of this fabric. So I'm going to my sewing machine. I'll start from the beginning. I'll stop somewhere here, then I'll give 5 inches gap, and I'll continue to the end. Okay, so I'm going to leave a space or a hole here where I'll bring out my fabric. Okay, then after which I'll hem it and seal it up so that it will look neat. All right, people, you can see I'm done stitching. These are my stitches. Okay, you can see I have my stitches to the end, but I left 5 or 4 inches opening. You can see this opening, so I'm going to put my hand inside this opening to turn this to the right side. You can see what I'm doing. I'm turning it to the right side, although it will be a little bit rumpled, but don't bother. Once you turn it, you now go to your ironing table. All right, people, you can see I'm done ironing my outfit right now. Okay, I gave it a very good press. So at this point, okay, you can see I have my hemming gum. Okay, what I mean, this is what I mean by hemming gum. Okay, don't be confused about the language I just used. So this is my hemming gum, and I took just a little of the hemming gum and I inserted it there. Okay, and I'm going to use my iron. Okay, I'm going to use a hot iron to gently press it on it. Okay, so you can see the off shoulder. Okay, you can see how relaxed it is on my shoulder. Now that is the business of today. I'm so happy that our body is very well fitted. Okay, and see the back. See how the back is relaxed.
You said we'll be back.
So that is how you make your off shoulder. Okay, follow the steps. You are going to get a very perfect fit to your off shoulder. Okay, so if you like this content, kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell, like, share this video to friends and family, give this video a thumbs up. Okay, thank you very much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.